Hey there, YouTube. Duke's back. So, I was trying to think of something entertaining I could say for you guys. And it took me a little while, talked to a few people, no one really helped. But I did come up with something I do know very well, and that is survival. And in this episode, just to make it a little more interesting, I'm going to talk about surviving a zombie apocalypse. Very big topic, of course, 2012. Do I believe it's going to particularly happen? No, but it's better be safe than sorry. And one big tip, if you can survive a zombie apocalypse, you can survive pretty much anything. That's a pretty much given. Now, a lot of these tips I'm about to show you has been that I've gotten from multiple online websites, a few experts, and the book World War Z and the Zombie Survival Guide. Now, the number one thing, at least in my eyes, for surviving a zombie apocalypse is being aware of your situation. So rule number one, be aware. The sooner you're able to identify that something, an epidemic could be happening, the better of a chance you have of surviving. Whether it's a few days more than anyone else, or you are aware months ahead of anyone else. You could move out of a populated area, you could go into a better area, you could start saving money so you can buy supplies, or you can start buying supplies right then and there. Or, if you're really good, you could start buying, you could move out, sell some of your stuff, play the stock market and the survival market, then sell. Make a lot of money, buy yourself a nice little fortress in Iceland. Your choice, just my recommendation. Now, of course, step 2 goes right into step 1, preparation. Preparation is the second most important because if you're aware, you could skip the situation entirely. But preparation is extremely important. You need a few basics. You need food, water, shelter, and a defense. Now, defense could mean weapons, but it can also just mean a good shelter. With food and water, you're going to need to look for something that's sustainable, possibly something recyclable. If you could find a good area to garden in, that is probably one of your strongest recommendations. Also, if you're able to find such things as cattle, especially goats, they're not good to kill, they're actually better for their milk. You get a much higher grain of vitamins and minerals and proteins and that kind of thing just from the milk than you ever would from the meat. Plus, they can survive for years versus just a few short days of awesome food. It's a tough choice to make, but trust me, it's the right one. Water, one very easy way to get this is rainwater. Rainwater or stream water. Now, two problems with this. Rainwater is clean, no matter what, it's clean. But usually what you're going to be able to contain it with will be dirty. So no matter what, always boil your water. That's just something you should know. Also, if you're getting something from a river, or even if you just think it's dirty water, it's better to be safe than sorry. An easy way to make a filter is to get something such as a trash can, and then layer it with crushed charcoal and sand in multiple layers. Recommend about 6 layers. You know, charcoal, sand, charcoal, sand, charcoal, sand. Very simple, and all you have to do is pour it through. This gets out the majority of anything that's going to harm you, and anything that you could swallow that's potentially deadly. Then after you do this, boil the water. It'll save your life. You can survive for weeks without food, but without water you will die in a very short amount of time. Like I said with food, try to find some cattle. If you can find some goats, even though that's random, trust me, a goat will save your life. Now, shelter. Shelter's a very complex thing because there's a bonus to making a shelter that you can always live at, and there's a bonus to constantly moving, being a nomad. If you have a great shelter you can maintain and keep, you have a possibility of surviving longer, and yet you have a possibility of being overrun by such things as zombies, raiders, or other survivors. So, depending on where you're able to, it's kind of a win-win, just a high-risk, high-reward situation. Really, it's the best to analyze. a good way to realize what shelter is best and which one's not is just a few simple things. 1, how many exits are there? 2, is it very easily accessible? Is it easily defendable, and could you barricade it within 2 to 3 hours? If you're not able to barricade and make a place impenetrable, or at least for a short amount of time, within 2 to 3 hours, you better get moving. You better not be in there for longer than 2 days, and if you are, you're asking yourself not to survive. So, one big recommendation, always stay on higher floors and get ready to have a safe way to get to the ground and out of the way. One very good thing that I thought of personally, if you're able to find a building with 2 stories and has a smaller house to the side, the best thing to do is to move up to the 2nd story of the house, make sure that it is impossible to get to the bottom, cut off the staircase basically. Barricade it, burn it, whatever you can do to possibly where you cannot get to it. That way, upstairs you are in a sanctuary. Because no matter what, someone's going to find a way to get up there. Barricades, they last for a good while, but they are a defense mechanism. They will not last. And if you're on the 2nd floor and there's a smaller building to your side, carry a ladder, rope, something to that extent, where you're able to make a shimmy, where you're able to get to that other roof or to the other building. That way you're able to transport safely without drawing too much attention. I'm gonna go into shelters and food a little bit later because it's one of the major things. I'm gonna make a much longer video, maybe make a few little series about how to survive, but we're gonna get to that later. Now, I'll talk about weapons right now. Now, there are a few very simple ones. You have 3 primary categories. You have melee, guns or ranged, and then you have explosives and improvised weaponry. Personally, and from a defense and offensive standpoint, melee is the best option. Blades don't need reloading, and neither do bats. Now, a bat in particular usually isn't that good unless you got the Brooklyn Smasher from Cold Steel, but even that, it's going to have a little difficulty completely destroying the skull. One of my favorites, let me see if I can find this. There it is. It is a tactical 4-inch spike made by Smith & Wesson. High tactical. It's just a normal military boot knife. It's a very nice little knife I got. It's 4 inches, and the best thing about that knife is it's very easily concealable, it's very easy to sharpen, it's very durable, and the best shot to kill a zombie or anything attacking you is to hit right in the back of the brain. If you're able to penetrate that, which is the easiest part of the brain to penetrate, you're able to kill anything instantly. So, something to keep in mind. Blunt trauma usually is better than sharp trauma because you're able to break the brain case very much faster and you don't have to worry about a live head biting at you. And some people don't know how to maintain sharp weaponry, so it goes to just getting a few kills versus getting endless kills for someone that knows how to do it. Now, the best melee weapon in reality is something similar to the machete or the katana. If you know how to use the katana is the best. Now, if you do not know how to use a katana, just grab a machete. Katanas are not that difficult, but without training, you can end up getting yourself very much hurt. Machetes, it's a simple, just a whack tool. Very good recommendation. As far as blunt trauma, crowbar is actually the best weapon to use because it's got a light but sturdy weight, and you're able to pierce the brain case very simply, and it just works very well. As far as ranged, you have to keep one thing in mind, and this is why I would never use guns, truly, in a apocalypse situation unless it was an absolute emergency. And that would be because you don't have the ammo or the things to keep the guns running for a long period of time. If you're going to have a gun, I recommend a high caliber pistol or a single shooting rifle. Shotguns, they're mildly effective, but unless you have a lot of shells, I would never ever recommend them because you have to be up close and personal to do any real damage. If you're gonna hit a group of zombies or raiders with a shotgun, it's just gonna knock them back. It's not gonna kill a zombie. You have to completely destroy the brain for that. With that, you need a clear, direct shot to the brain. Shotguns aren't like in Call of Duty. You're not just gonna take one shot and do 4 headshots and blow everybody's fucking head off. It's just not gonna work. So, recommendation, shotguns, not one of them. M14, very good weapon. But keep it on single shot, trust me on that. Anything single shooting is most likely going to be your better choice. Anything that shoots faster than that, you're just going to be wasting up ammo. I don't recommend it. Now, the reason I would say to keep a gun on you is not for the zombie threat, but for the human threat. There's psychological advantage over raiders and other survivors, and it's a lot easier to kill a zombie with a knife than it is to kill a human with a knife. In that, a human may feel pain, but they have a faster reaction speed, and it's much easier than just to aim up the sights and shoot than it is to do anything else with a zombie. Now, explosives. Explosives are not the best thing to do. If it's a last second thing and you have a bunch of C4 or something to that extent, it's good to destroy an area where they can't follow you better than to use it against a straight up enemy. It's just not a good idea. They're too loud, they draw too much attention, they're not that effective, because the entire reason they're effective against a human is because there are basically 3 things that'll kill you. There's the concussion, which has no effect on a zombie whatsoever. Then you have the shrapnel, which has a mild chance of affecting a zombie. And then you have the actual fire of the explosion, which will not affect the zombie whatsoever, just the concussion. So, explosives, better to destroy an area where a zombie cannot follow you than to actually kill a zombie. Now, another big thing with preparation is fitness. I'm a better example of this. I'm getting fit right now. I've lost about 40 pounds since the beginning of the school year. I'm still losing more, getting a six-pack. It's a recommendation to anybody. When you're getting fit, it's just deadly important in an apocalypse situation, because you always need to stay healthy. There's not going to be many doctors, and you're always going to be on the move. So, fitness, right up there with the weapon. It's the best weapon you can ever have. Let me see. Also, understanding your true challenges. In reality, there are about 4 things you can look out for. 1 are your zombies or major threat. Survivors. Building your team is a very big challenge. You don't want to have too big of a team, but if you have too small of a team, something bad could happen. Just a big challenge to look out for. Raiders. Raiders are probably just as big as a threat as zombies. They may be in smaller numbers, but they can be more deadly. They're looking out to survive just as much as you are, if not more. So that's something to look out for. And then survival in general. Surviving all these things is the hardest thing about this. And I'm going to do a longer video on this sometime, but right now I'm kind of rambling on. So just keep these things in mind. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Send me a message. If you have any questions, anything you think I need to improve on, or anything you think I did wrong, anything you just don't agree with whatsoever, let me know. Alright, well, YouTube, I'm going to let you go. You have a good night, and keep me posted. Bye.